ready for a new and exciting topic? The Real Estate and Mortgage Show is back with your host, Walter Montero. He's a real estate and mortgage agent in Ontario, implements internet marketing strategies, and offers an online course to invest in private mortgages. Let's listen to this fascinating episode. You will surely learn much from this talk.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of the Real Estate Mortgage Show. This week's topic was actually inspired by an article I read in the Real Estate Marketing magazine. It's REM magazine. It's a trade magazine. And I want to give credit where credit is due. This article came from a real estate sales representative in the Moncton area, and his name is Wes Hoover, and he is with a Home Life Premier Property, and Les can be reached through his website at buywithwes.com. Okay, and just want to go over some of the things that the article covers, and this is the 9 things for sale by owner companies don't want consumers to know. I agree with almost all of his points, so I just wanted to go over them with you. So for sale by owner companies are obviously these companies that play sort of a pseudo real estate company in terms of listing your property with them. So these are the 9 things that these companies don't want you to know. So number 1 is, first of all, they charge upfront fees, and in most cases thousands. And that is definitely the case when you meet with one of these companies. They're an a la carte company. So when you go in, or when they have you over to their home, or to your home rather, they have a package of marketing that they do, or I should say that they give you, and you got to pay for that up front regardless of, the success of your sale or not. Obviously, the differentiator more than anything else is real estate agents charge you nothing. Okay, nothing for all of those things. The fee only kicks into place once the sale is consummated and it actually closes. All right, so big difference. Real estate agents, they provide all those services, virtual tours, staging, coordinating showings for you, accommodating people from showings, all of that stuff, all the marketing, that's all done for free up front until the deal is done. These companies, not so much. They're going to ask you for money no matter what your success rate is. Point number 2 is they aren't held to any kind of code of ethics. And again, that is certainly very true. Real estate agents have a code of conduct that they have to perform under, and it certainly makes the business of listing and selling real estate with a colleague that much simpler, easier, I should say. When you're dealing with companies such as these, they are not held to this code of ethics, and sometimes they don't always play above board. I'm certainly not implying that they're dirty players. I'm saying that they're not as easy to do business with, and if something goes wrong, they're not held to these higher standards. Okay, so where do you go in terms of taking these guys to the mat? You can't. You got nowhere to take them. All right, with a real estate company, you do, and we've got and especially in Ontario, we've got the Real Estate Council of Ontario, which obviously holds us to a very high code of conduct. Okay. Number 3, just because you're a real estate professional does not mean you're rich and overpaid. That is absolutely true for sure. Now, having said that, I know there's some agents out there that certainly make some great money. There's no question about it. But, one thing that you got to take into consideration, these guys work long, hard hours, and they in many cases, they have years under their belt, decades under their belt. So what looks easy to the public isn't necessarily easy. They've made it easy because they've mastered their craft. Okay, so, and don't forget, this is a contingency business. When you hire a real estate company, you pay nothing unless we are successful in delivering the goods. Okay, so imagine for a minute if you got a job or your current job and your boss said, listen, I'm going to give you a paycheck Friday, but that's only if the company makes a profit, because if we don't, then I'm sorry, but I can't pay you. Real estate works a lot like that, where, agents are spinning their wheels a lot of times, and sometimes those deals don't always come together. So when you're dealing with a contingency basis, you've got to keep in mind that the cost is going to be a little bit higher. Okay, absolutely for sure. The next thing is they can't put your home on the MLS system. Now, I just want to be clear on this particular thing, and this is something that I don't want to be misinterpreted. Some of these marketing companies, they can actually put your home on realtor.ca. So this is the public access to the house being, or the public access to the MLS system. It is not the realtor access. So when you're dealing with, for example, in my community, neither of those companies are members of our MLS. So when you put your listing on the market with this company, you put it on MLS, you're not exposing it to any of the local agents. Okay, so statistically, the chances of a real estate agent being involved in the deal is very, very high. Now, you're not even exposing it to the person that's very likely to play the biggest role in getting it sold, which is the real estate community. So don't be misguided in terms of the house being on MLS. It isn't necessarily, because the two companies that service our area primarily, one operates out of Toronto, the other one operates out of Hamilton. Neither would the Hamilton has its own board, and so does Toronto, and so does Cambridge. Okay, so Cambridge, they don't get exposed here. Okay, the next thing is they actually petition agents to sell their houses. So this is very true. So this is where a company or an individual lists their property, and then they encourage cooperation with the real estate community, and it's certainly very much appreciated. I don't want to I don't want to discount that by any means. But the one thing that kind of bothers me about that, in fact, it just happened last week. I saw a real estate transaction come together. Okay, it was listed with one of those companies. I know that there was a real estate agent involved in the transaction, yet the private for sale company advertises how much money that the seller saved as a result of selling privately. And the figure was so made up, it was wrong, it was a lie, and unfortunately people are misguided by this information. So here's a transaction happened privately, still had real estate involvement, and that company led you to believe that these people saved a ton of money, and they didn't. And quite honestly, I think they might have even left money on the table because of the lack of exposure that property didn't, or I should say didn't get. They probably left some money on the table had it been on the open MLS. So really, if you do the long math, folks, everybody pays a commission. You either pay it to a realtor or pay it to the customer. Okay, so really, I mean, one thing or another, there's value in that. You just got to keep that in mind. And here's the worst part. Remember that code of conduct? They're not held to that code of conduct, so they can say whatever they want. All right. The next point, which is point number 6, they don't have a real estate license. Now, this is something else I want to be clear on. 9 times out of 10, the consultant that comes to the home to give you a consultation on using a private for sale company, those people are not licensed. Now, they do have options in terms of using one of their in-house agents because they do have a real estate element to their company. So this is basically where they offer a consultation in terms of you handling an offer. So those people are licensed. But the person that's consulting you on the sale of a property isn't licensed. So really, why are you taking real estate advice from an unlicensed person? The province has implemented real estate licensing for a long, long time, and that's for a reason, because this is a profession that people should be properly educated with in order to be providing advice to people that are listing and selling real estate. These people are not licensed, folks. So, be careful on who you listen to in terms of getting your real estate advice. The next point, which is point number 7, you pay them and you do all the work. This is very true. So basically, they do give you a whole marketing package. They give you the signs, the brochures, all that kind of stuff. They splash something up on the website for you. But here's the deal. You're the one fielding all the calls. You're the one hosting the open houses. You're the one showing the property. You're the one negotiating the deal. I'm sorry, what happened here? You're paying them for services and they're not giving them to you? Yeah, I hear you. It should be something that you should really keep in mind before you enter into a contract with them. Point number 8 is private sales carry a stigma and uncertainties that make buyers uncomfortable. And yes, this is very much true. And this is probably true on an even grander scale which is with regards to finance companies. So banks, lenders, they typically do not like private sales, okay, because of that whole code of conduct and, the accuracy of the information, all of that stuff. I mean, let's face it, real estate agents carry errors and omissions insurance. So they are, there's meat on that bone, okay? If somebody messed up, we are covered in terms of any damages. That's not the case with private deals, and obviously lenders know that. So they always approach private sales a lot more cautiously. The other thing is when a deal is done with these guys, I've seen a lot of promises get broken. And, sometimes when you have a real estate agent on the other side that can apply some pressure to somebody applying or somebody keeping their promises, that's not the case with a private sale. So you get broken promises, you get in houses that, they promised to do things and they didn't. And, here you go, you've got, a real estate transaction that you're not so happy with. All right. And then finally, point number 9, which is agents don't hate for sale by owners. And that is very true. I know sometimes when I call for sale by owners from time to time, you'd think I was, Jeffrey Dahmer calling somebody sometime. For the most part, I got to tell you, I've never really run into that. But I do from time to time. I do get it. Like, hey, what the heck? You're a real estate agent? What the hell do you want? And, all I'm doing is, doing my job. I know that statistically, there's a very high chance of that for sale by owner listing with a real estate agent. That's probably reason number 1 I'm calling them. Reason number 2 is I could very likely have a buyer for your property. So, really, folks, we can work out the math later. Can I help you get your home sold and get you on with your life? I don't hate you. I understand where you're coming from. Everybody's looking to save money. I get it. But really, if you do the long math, you may be surprised at how little you save, if any. All right. Anyway, that's this week's podcast or this week's episode. And again, I want to thank Les Hoover down in Moncton. And if you have anybody, I understand his office number is 506-962-2522. And, of course, if you have any real estate questions for us here in Cambridge, Kitchener-Waterloo, 519-624-9222 or Walter at MaximumResults.ca. Folks, have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week.
You've reached the end of another episode of the Real Estate and Mortgage Show. Connect with us at therealestateandmortgageshow.com. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter to get instant access to our new updates. See you at the next episode.